Hey traders, I haven't done an educational video on market webs. I've been asked several times to do a basic tutorial education video. I'll try to keep it under 30 minutes and we'll see what happens here. There's probably more things that I'm not going to bring up. You can ask questions at the bottom of the screen and the you know discussions below the video, and I will get back with you for additional questions about the market web software. So basically, it's getting really expensive on the software. I got it back when it was fairly cheap. Um, so the newest version, which is this is not even it, it's like $1,200 for the newest version of the software which you use with Thinkorswim. Okay, and the current this one here is version 3. Okay, and so basically, it's version 3 because you've got the purple or blue or purple lines that extend back. These are untested uh, virgin point of controls. They call them virgin because they've never been tested before. Okay, and so these are drawn out until price comes down and takes those prices out. And so we get the prior versions to this did not have that drawn on the charts. Another way you can show this is a version 3. If you go into right click on top of the value area or any of the lines, then you can do the edit the properties of the study. And you can also see another really clear way. Right here it says daylight savings time. In prior versions, it gave you the option winter or summer, and you had to manually adjust them for daylight savings time on your own. Okay, and I think you can automatically do it. You can manually do it, or just have the auto feature. And like where I actually live, this sometimes messes up because I'm just talking 30 miles from where I'm at goes to central time zone, and parts of my state are actually in the central time zone, believe it or not. And so if I'm going down where I'm working and stuff, sometimes this thing will automatically adjust into a different time zone before I even realize it. So a lot of times I will have this set up on the summer or the winter to make sure that doesn't happen. That most people won't have that situation, but my where I live, it is a problem sometimes. I'll come back to this here in a minute. Right now, I have all these green lines and the red lines over here. Okay, those are called Venom lines, and those come up, and also with the the arrows, up arrows, down arrows, those uh, sell signals, buy signals. Okay, all those are show targets. Okay, and typically I don't personally use those. There's such a thing as having too much information on your screen. So I try to. My most important thing with using market webs is the value areas. Okay, and how prices reacting with value areas. And then I also have some different studies that I use in addition to these market webs. But I typically don't have that turned on. I got that turned off. But before I turn that off, which I'm going to do that in a minute, something I want to show you whenever you go to install this, if you come up here on your toolbar, okay, in general, where's it at? Price. Okay, default on Thinkorswim Fit Studies. This thing is always selected on by default, and if you apply this, you see what happens all of a sudden to market webs? It gets crushed. See how it's just absolutely crushed? And it really looks horrible on the lower time frames, okay? And so you have to have your fit studies. All these Venom lines, you do not want these to be fit on your screen, because you got multiple Venom lines and it's forcing all those Venom lines into your onto your screen. And you really don't want that, okay? So, so you just go price axis, fit studies, turn that off, okay? And then apply it. Okay, and then also then I'm also going to sit there and edit, and I am going to turn the Venom lines off to make things easier and clearer for us. So that's all I'm going to say about the Venom lines. I don't really see an edge to them. I've been messing with this for a good while. If you guys find an edge, put it in the description below so I can do an investigation about it, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm turning that off, apply, and go. Okay, so there you go. So I'm starting out on a monthly time frame. So basically, you can see up here in the upper left-hand corner, it says yearly webs. So basically, this value right here currently is developing value for 2023. Yes, this is value, or what, no, correction. Correct. Let me rephrase this. The value right here is 2022, but it was created back in 2021. Okay, so basically, Market Webs has to get its data from a prior time frame. Okay, this is not forward looking. It can imply forward action, but it has to have historical value to to make it to draw value from. Okay, and one thing about it is when you use it enough, you can actually you can predict prior future levels as well. Okay, but right now, basically, I'm just going to say you have to have, this is where volume, how volume was distributed last year. Okay, so we're in an upper bell distribution on value right now. Right now, so we know right here, right now, the bell curve drops off. 404.60 is crucial. If we lose 404.60 on SPY, things can get absolutely bloody. Okay. Another thing, you see how this stair stepped up? Okay, and I shouldn't have turned my Venom lines off. But this has been stair stepping up on 1, 2, and 3 Venom lines, okay? And it's been going on there, there. Okay, well, I did all 3 of those, and then we had a little sell-off back in 2020. Okay, so we pretty much lost the momentum back in 2020 in our acceleration. And then after we regained our momentum in 2020, it just exploded to the upside. Okay, so we know for a fact, our significant support is way down here. Okay, so way down here at the 244, we know that is our critical yearly support. Okay, so we know that for an absolute fact. And we also know that this area right here was critical. And uh, with all the geopolitical stuff going on, if the thing starts catching some momentum on the yearly time frame here, 320 is not out of the cards for a downside slide because of the explosive move to the upside. Okay. And so I just want to float that idea here on the yearly time frame. So you always start there. So then I go down to the, okay, I got the monthly, weekly. This here gives you your yearly webs, okay? So we know, I've already turned my Venom lines off. I'm not going to put them back on here. I'm just going to show you the different time frames. Your value areas are different because you're on a different time frame, okay? So on a yearly time frame, well, correction. Wait a minute here. Correction. Oh, that was just the same ones. Uh, I showed you the monthly. It was a little bit clearer. I forgot monthly and yearly. They're exactly the same. I'm sorry. It's been a while since I've done these tutorials. For you, basically, you're getting the same type of setup here. But you see how the volume just drops off at this 404, 403, 404 area? And we got a gap right there. We lose that, and it's just all over with. This right here becomes, you can clearly tell this is going to be a head, because of that gap right there. This will be a clear head for head and shoulders pattern potentially. Okay, depending on how you define it. Okay, head and shoulders. That could be a major breakdown signal if we were to break that. Technically, because you look for something like this for a head, that'd be your head. This would be your right shoulder, and your left shoulder develop over here. Okay, and then, like I mentioned earlier, 320. The 320 area here would be the untested virgin point of control here on the weekly. So then you go down to your daily time frames, and now you got your monthly webs. Okay, sorry, dry mouth. I'm on some new medication, and just complete dry mouth situation going on here. So basically, what we're doing right here, right now, we are technically bear flagging. We're testing this area right here. We're testing to figure out if this is going to be major support for an additional move even higher. If we're building a megaphone, possibly a megaphone top even higher, that's what we're setting up for. That's what it's trying to decide whether or not, here we are, the first of the year. Do we want to continue higher in these markets or not? Clearly, you can tell if you were to draw a trend line, we have broken support, but it still could be a megaphone, because volume profile is telling us here on the monthly, we're coming down this untested virgin point of control now. It's been tested. We're currently trading above that on a daily time frame, and we're trying to build out value here and see if we can support this. Okay, and we're wicking pretty hard here on the daily time frame, also suggesting that they're trying their best to support this. We are right here at the beginning of what is might be one of the best earning seasons ever for the U.S. stock market. Okay, and we're having some mixed reactions. Had Netflix got destroyed, we've got IBM running pretty hard. We've got Visa surprising. It was shorted really hard into the earnings. They got short squeezed really hard there Friday. Apple had a really nice quarter with really nice guidance. Microsoft had a really nice quarter, really nice guidance. Boeing, it wasn't too, because of all the inflation theme and everything, but and the all the airlines, having all the problems they're having with the whole COVID thing and everything. This wasn't a very good quarter for Boeing. Okay, so Boeing looks like it's going to possibly come down to 150. You never know. So that's just a few things here with the market webs. What I'm looking at here. I'm sorry I got sidetracked on the tangent, but this is the beginning of a calendar year. So, this early in the calendar year to see us pulling back that hard, you got to, basically a clear change of character versus what we had last year. Last year was completely straight up. It's different if you have an end of the year correction after having a wonderful year than to have a correction already at the beginning of the year, because they weren't willing to take their profits at the end of last year, and now they're taking profits off the table already early on this year, and before the higher tax rates come in. I think that's what they're trying to do here. So bottom line is, if we lose this area, then of course we're going to be coming down to 390. Likely, doing a hard test to 390. So just keep that one on your watch here. Then it comes down all down to 350. Okay, and then that would be your next major hard test that has not been tested yet on a monthly time frame. Okay, then you go down to the next time frame. You can do a 4 hour and a 1 hour. So see, no, that gives you weekly webs. Is that right? Yeah, weekly webs. So weekly webs show up on the 4 hour and the 1 hour time frames, and that's the only two time frames that they work on. Okay. So, uh, I'm gonna I'm gonna actually extend this out a little bit. I'm gonna go out 6 months. Okay. That way you can see it a little bit clearer here. Okay, guys. And so basically, what you see it really close. What's going on here on a 4 hour time frame, on a weekly time frame? This is a different version point of control. It's a different time frame. Okay, so we've actually got two times here. See, we came down, tested it here, put a higher high in. So we know how critical. You see this line right here? How critical doom, you know. So we can actually literally, where that got taken out, you can just draw a line from that, and that you're drawing your line in the sand right here. Look, you can see how critical this is. Okay, so as long as we're, as long as we're probing prices above this trend line, the markets are probably going to go back near the highs or break out the new highs. So we that's what's going on right here, right now on these markets, and on a weekly time frame. You know, and so I don't know if that's going to happen. I just wanted to, you know, like I said, on a weekly time frame, they are holding. Their build is it's still technically the count is bullish. Okay, on a weekly time frame, you got a technical bullish count. If anybody who counts the cycles, because we are in a higher we keep continue technically on our volume on our volume profile, we are still accepting prices higher. Okay, I know this here kind of violates that. See, that technically violates that, but I would still argue that we're technically still on a bullish count. Okay, And then we can go down to the 1 hour. It pretty much shows the same thing. And yeah, there it goes. 90 days. Okay. So on the 1 hour, this is just the 90 days here. Okay. So, we're like in a box here, just pre-market here. Around 9 o'clock, we rallied it up. I don't know where it is right now. The futures, uh, everything looks down. Bitcoin down 2%. Definite risk off theme. I use VX futures and Bitcoin as a fear gauge. And when Bitcoin's way down and VX futures are way up, those are the two main indicators to me that we're going to come in tomorrow with a risk-off scenario. So obviously we're not going to be initially breaking out of that box. So we want to really keep a close eye on SPY here. 442, yeah, okay. So we're still, the Russell's way down here too. Where's the ES futures? Let me type in ES here, see how it's done. Okay, we're right up here at the top here. So we're actually getting a nice bid. We're getting a proper bid here. So that suggests to me that that might be what's up the most today. ZNCL. Crude's up heavy today, 1.2%. So don't know what's going on there. Showing right here that we're way down, so I don't really understand. That right there is not giving me the same. Okay, whatever. Okay, I'm gonna go back to SPY. That's what I started with. Okay, I don't want to get off into a different tangent. Okay, I'll check that out here in a bit. Oh, another thing, when you're using market webs, uh, equities, futures, it doesn't matter what it is. Okay, you don't have to have the highlights on. Okay, you can turn the highlights on to make sure it's printing out okay. But you have to have the extended hours trading for market webs to work. Okay, this absolutely has to be turned on. So that's another thing I do want to point on that. I'll just go put that apply there. Okay, guys, so there you go on that. Then you can go down to the 30-minute. Now the 15-minute I don't typically use with market webs. It gets a little glitchy. Okay, so I don't know if there's a software issue or something there. So I don't typically use that one, but you can go down to 30 minutes. I like using this for day trading targets. So basically, I know right here, right now, if I was coming in today, I'd just be putting a box right up here. That would be my, uh, a target that I'd be doing, and then I would be zooming down here, zooming up to see if there's any other things that's not close on my screen. I don't see anything. So, that's really the only untested version point of control I have on the shorter time frame. We have tested this one before and found sellers right here. So, so technically, if we were right at the open, because this is sold before, I would be considering, shorting right out of the gate because we have found, they rejected this before. Okay. Initially, I would be shorting with a real tight stop. If it started breaking out above, then I would be, but basically that would be initial short out of the gate, if we were to open into that zone. Okay. So that's a few things I'm showing here. Is there anything else I could show you here? The yellow line that represents the volume point of control. So that's the highest price point on like this one is a daily webs for the day where price uh, where buyers and sellers met on price to the penny. Okay, so this being the on this date right here, like last Wednesday, at this price, which is 440.90, that was the highest price point that did business that day. And if you go back in the other time frames, that's the same thing with them. On a weekly time frame, that's the highest point where on a weekly basis buyers and sellers met, or on a yearly basis or monthly basis, that's where buyers and sellers met on those time frames. Okay, the value area itself represents 70% of the entire inventory throughout the day. Okay, So basically, it looks and it puts so makes 70% of the inventories, but from the red to the green. Okay, and that's how this value area works. Okay, and it doesn't necessarily put 15% up here, 15% down there. The software is designed, I don't know how it actually designed it. Sometimes you won't have any value above this. Okay, so I do want to point that out. So like you're coming in and it gives you a babe a uppercase P formation, on volume profile, and the value area high is right at the highs, so very strong demand into that. So not necessarily demand. We saw here this got rejected, but typically an uppercase P formation, that's a continuation pattern, which failed right here last Wednesday. Okay, and so basically, then we had a continuation Thursday breakdown pattern. For Thursday, we had a possible breakdown pattern setting up, and we just couldn't catch any traction Friday because I was short as to Dickens on IWM and up really big on the trade, and I gave a bunch of it back because they could not take it down. Apple numbers and Visa numbers were so good that they just were not willing to take it down. Okay, so we're just still here in chop, pretty much you see where we finished out the day on volume. We were undecided for Friday. So we know closing out the week, they weren't really for sure what they wanted to do this week, coming in the next week. So that's pretty much how volume profile, how I read that. Uh, so if you go down, like I said, on your smaller time frames, they're all daily webs now. Okay. You're just zooming in, really a different, your volume profile is just getting a lot smaller. A lot of times I will use the 5 minute. Okay. And, you can zoom in properly here. And obviously you can see, how the buyers just got completely shut down there. You can make a box if you want, a trading box. And the moment it starts poking out of the box, then you can take a long or short side. Obviously up here is an untested uh, weekly volume point of control. Okay. So, we spent all of this week down here, and we're going to be opening near the high of the box, suggests that we were trying to migrate higher. Okay, that's pretty much, and we put here was Monday, we put in the lowest session and we couldn't come back down to it. So, that's another thing to say, we spent an additional 4 days and we couldn't even get back down to the Monday's lows. So that's leaning a little more bullish, okay? And so, there's a few things here suggesting that we're going to come in tomorrow, and uh, that situation is going to happen. Plus, we had the first of the month. First of the month, it's hard to short the first of the month because you got all the 401k and new money coming into the markets, and the shorts cover volatility comes in first of the month. Typically. Now the bearish case is the VX futures. The current contract, if you go here on, we got 17 days left in these contracts. Okay, and so just keep that in mind. Are we still in backwardation? Let me look here real quick. 2690. So we are back in Contango. So Contango means that the front contracts are cheaper than the longer dated contracts. That's the way it's supposed to be because you have theta to figure in, or not theta, you have time to figure into the contracts. Last week, a lot of last week, the the active contracts were in what they call backwardation, and that's really a bad sign. Okay, so this is a fairly good sign being back in Contango starting the week. So I do want to float that idea also. So that gives you another indicator. At least volatility initially, like I said, last week suggests we were going to have a bullish week starting the week. I don't know. We'll see, and we'll go from there. And so basically, I just wanted to go over this. I don't want to keep on rambling here. Obviously we are below, uh, developing value. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention about developing value. The dots, okay? The red, yellow, and green, that is developing value for next week, okay? So the highest point to do business Friday, okay? Let's see, we'll go over here Friday. Okay. Uh, the highest point to do business Friday, uh, suggested price was going to be into the cash session was suggesting price is going to be into this area. The after hour session suggested price was going to migrate much lower on the VX futures and have a bullish open for next week. And that's pretty much what we got going on here so far. That's what the VX futures were suggesting that but the futures themselves are not quite doing that right now. So we'll just keep that on watch. See, we're down 0.83% on VX futures, but we're also down on the indices. So I would not be surprised to see some of these indices. Either volatility is going to get an explosive move by tomorrow morning, or we're going to see the indices recover some of these losses tomorrow morning, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. A lot of carnage here with the whole uh, Bitcoin stuff. So we have to be really careful here uh, going forward here. Okay. So please ask some questions. Like the video if you like it. Hopefully I taught you some stuff with this tutorial video. Thanks. Like the video on if you like it too, if you can, on YouTube. This won't be posted on Twitter.